So you're sure you're not running for president of U.S. Soccer?
I can't afford to run. You know, that's not a paid position. And plus, who would...
Maybe it will be. Maybe it will be.
But it's not right now. And honestly, I've got no desire to run for... Oh, would you run for it?
Yes.
Are you officially throwing your hat in the ring?
Yes. No.
No.
Yes. No. No, I'm not. Kyle Martino is. It's interesting.
Didn't he say he wasn't going to?
He wasn't, but I remember
he did a Bleacher. There was a Bleacher Report article that says he considered it, but then he said it's not fair because he has his dream job, and then he said he was not doing it.
Yeah, he has his dream job. It's a great gig. NBC Sports covering the Premier League. He's the American voice on there too, so he's like that connection. Well. He's that kind of a connection to all of us who are watching. And he was very critical on the coverage there. Well, it wasn't critical. He just said it's time for a change, Sunil.
Oh, he was senile out.
He senile out, and then he came through. And I imagine he processed a lot of things. He had a lot of conversations, and now he's announced that he's going to run for the president with some support of big names: Thierry Henry, David Beckham, handwritten letters.
Oh, big U.S. soccer names, yes.
Big U.S. soccer names as well. So there is support there. I don't know how much inspiring we saw with Eric Wijnaldum, who we spoke to here, and we hope to talk to Kyle Martino here on a future Max Herc podcast.
I say it in jest, Max.
But he must be seeing it.
You can't just get the support of David Beckham and Thierry Henry for anything and it not be important within the soccer world.
But he must sense an opportunity. I mean, as much as we think Sunil, we still feel Sunil's going to win this thing, and maybe his appearance now, Kyle Martino, I initially thought was going to split votes with the Wijnaldum. You have Steve Gans, Carlos Cordeiro as well. It feels like it's going to split those votes.
You're exactly right. It's going to split votes.
I don't know that
Wijnaldum,
for sure.
Cordero, Caligiuri, Gans, etc. Sunil, more and more, he hasn't announced himself.
He hasn't even announced.
Right,
maybe.
So who knows? But there is some substance to Kyle Martino throwing his name in there.
Yeah, exactly. He's got to be doing. He has to feel some confidence to go through this whole process, to leave his dream job, and to go through this whole few months. It's going to be really challenging. It's going to be sleepless nights. It's going to be hard work.
Mark Stein of the New York Times wrote an article about it, and in it he spoke about Kyle Martino's 3 pillars, and it's going to be transparency, equality, and progress. That's what his presidency will stand on.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in hearing, because Kyle Martino is an incredibly bright individual. I'm curious to hear his stance and what he plans to do, and going forward, how he can change things, and if it's a position that needs to be held by 2 people, one on the sporting and one on the financial side, what can you do going forward? All these things. By the way, he also mentioned he has the backing of 5 prominent American players. He didn't say past or present.
Yeah.
So for all we know, it could be, and I'm just throwing this out there, a Landon Donovan, a Carlos Bocanegra, a Stu Holden, or present.
Just names.
Or present right now, Michael Bradley, Josie Altidore, Tim Howard. I'm just throwing names. I'm just saying we don't know if it's past or present, but he seems to have the backing to update. And he's a relevant figure. I'm not saying Paul Caligiuri isn't, but Paul Caligiuri hasn't been in the picture in the landscape for quite some time. Kyle Martino might not have the resume on the sporting side of many of these guys like Wijnaldum, but he's relevant right now, and he's an extremely bright individual.
Well, I was joking about you running for presidency, but I think of someone like you, and I think of someone like Taylor Twellman. We're in the broadcast world here. You have the credentials of being a former national team player. Same with Kyle. That puts you guys in a very powerful spot, because this...
Wow. I'm not as smart as these 2 guys.
Okay.
These 2 guys are extremely bright.
No, but I think when it all happened, and when we heard how angry Taylor was, and how Kyle, I think people initially said, why... And people asked Taylor, I saw it on Twitter, and people asked Kyle, why don't you run? And maybe you connect the dots a bit and say, it's not that far-fetched, even though I'm not an administrator, maybe I'm not an executive of any kind. I'm a broadcaster, but there are those. I'm 2 dots away.
I want to know with Kyle Martino what changed. In the Bleacher Report, article, he stated that it's not a paid position, and he didn't have the luxury of leaving his dream job, which was a well-paying job that his family depended on, to go out and explore these avenues. So what changed now? How are you being funded? Is it crowdfunding? Is there a financial backer? I'd love to hear these things, because I do think he's a fairly capable individual. What I do love is that there are more names in the hat now than ever. That competition is being created, and Sunil, it's going to be contested. It won't just be a non-contested election and him again. Sunil hasn't announced if he's going to run or not, but I think competition breeds excellence, so this is good.
The 3 pillars again, it was transparency, was it?
Yeah, transparency.
Okay, so equality and progress. And transparency is, That's what I'm looking for from all these
That is the
candidates. When
biggest
we
one.
ask a question, I want an answer. And I want to hear why this works. I want to know how the sausages are made.
Don't you just
I
wanna
want to
know-
know everything.
Don't you just want to know?
I don't want secrecy.
Who's accountable for what?
I want all of that.
Who's accountable for what is what I
The
want.
most transparent person will get my support. Whatever, my support's were diddly poo really here, but maybe not. Maybe not. But that's what I want to hear. I want to hear every answer. I don't want to go okay anything. And that's I've been hearing some of these answers. I'm sure Kyle knows that, and he's going to come out and say, okay, answer, this is what's going to happen. I want specific examples about how equality will be achieved. How if women, he's already had some quotes, how women are going to get the equal pay, how kids who are in situations where they can't afford
pay to play,
how they are going to get that chance to be able to contribute. So those are the things I want to hear, and I hope there's answers, at least as an answer, and not sort of kick the can down the road a bit.
Absolutely.